Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I wanted to talk about personality theory and the concept of intelligence and personality theory. So as we know with Myers-Briggs, at least the tests, they are very leading and they are also often inaccurate, and people mistype in Myers-Briggs quite a bit. I have mistyped in the past. I know of so many people that have mistyped via the test. And that's why it's so important to study the cognitive functions. But I think when most people get into their typology journey, they start to see some trends and some patterns across the board for stereotypes and which personalities are maybe the funniest, the most creative, and even the most intelligent. And I find this very problematic, specifically when it has to do with intelligence, because from just knowing about human nature and just the way that human beings are, you cannot boil down intelligence to a specific personality type. Yes, there might be a higher percentage of a certain personality type that has higher intelligence in some areas, but there's so many different levels of intelligence that it's so difficult to gauge who is the most intelligent. Now, obviously we have emotional intelligence, we have IQ, we have logistical intelligence, all kinds of intelligence. I sound very intelligent, guys. But I think there's a concept, and this is something that I have found kind of frustrating as someone who is a feeling type, which I don't like using that in a huge sense, just because I personally subscribe to the theory of socionics, which in socionics you do have all 8 cognitive functions. Everybody does. And even though I lead with introverted intuition and my second function is extroverted feeling, and I'm quote unquote a feeler, this doesn't translate as this person that's always like emotional and only sees through the lens of feeling. It is a spectrum. All of the cognitive functions are a spectrum, and so many people can have different subtypes, and it can represent itself differently to each person. At the end of the day, people are very individual, and although there might be that 16 type framework that people can fall under, there's so many subcategories and there's so many things that make up a human being. So if you were comparing an INFJ to another INFJ, one of them might have a higher IQ than the other. One of them might have a higher EQ than the other person, and so on and so forth. And I just think that personally, I've seen this online that a lot of people not only discount sensors. I think there's so many people, when they first get into Myers-Briggs, they look at the intuitive versus sensing axis and they think, okay, of course you're going to, most people, I think, maybe not most people, but a lot of people do type as an intuitive, whether they are intuitive or not, just because of how skewed the tests are and how inaccurate most tests are. And personally, I do not, even though I think there are better tests out there, I don't personally recommend people a test to take. I think they're a good place to start when you're trying to understand what your personality type is and trying to get a basis for it, but I don't think it should be used as an end-all be-all tool. And not only do people have this sensor intuition bias, they also have a bias against feelers. And they think anybody that has the ability to have an intellectual conversation and is able to kind of subscribe to certain like stereotypical thinker ideas, like someone that may be more interested in science or math or anything that's considered logical, they are automatically a thinker and they cannot be a feeler. They're incapable. If they're a feeler, they're incapable of doing those things. It's unheard of that they could ever be interested in computer science or neurology or any kind of stuff of that sort. And that's something that I find extremely problematic in the typology community. And I think anybody that is fairly serious about typology and has studied it for a while has kind of gotten over those biases. Is that a word? I'm so intelligent. That was so cringy. Anyways, I'm not very good at talking. Anyways, they're able to look at people and kind of just realize they go on this typology journey because, in my opinion, and I think I've seen this with other people as well, it's not just myself, I have never studied this, but my hypothesis about typology is the idea of a running theory. And you should always kind of have this running hypothesis about people that you're around and trying to connect the dots. Again, I subscribe to the idea of socionics, so in my head I have a socionic type grid where it comes from where the alpha quadra is right here, the beta quadra is right here, the gamma quadra is right here, and the delta quadra is right here. And there's kind of like a faint line between the beta and gamma quadra. Kind of like the FE-FI divide. And anyways, it should be a tool for self-growth and also a tool for understanding the people around you and trying to develop stronger and better relationships and communication styles. It shouldn't be used to discriminate people. It shouldn't be used as a way of discounting someone just because they have a certain personality. And I think a lot of people that are able to go on this journey, again, this is not a, at least from experience, and maybe some people have more of a heightened experience, but for me, I've been on this journey for almost 12 years, typology in general, and it didn't start from me like being super knowledgeable. Everybody starts at a certain spot, and I was personally a high school student when I first learned about typology, so I didn't take it seriously because at the time, I think it was like in 2009, maybe close to 2010, I took the Myers-Briggs type indicator, and that was the time of like Facebook quizzes and BuzzFeed quizzes and all of those kind of personality type quizzes, like what's your favorite sock? I mean, what sock are you? That's such a random thing. What kind of tree are you? What type of Disney princess are you? And the Myers-Briggs test at the time wasn't anything, at least for me, it wasn't something that I took super seriously. I mean, I took it seriously when I took the test. I tried to do it in a concise manner. I didn't try to like think too much about the test, and I mistyped as an ENFJ. And so for the longest time, which I didn't really look into it, so this was definitely on me, up until college, so around the age of 18, I didn't start really looking into Myers-Briggs more, and that actually happened when my sister took a psychology class in high school. It was like her senior year of high school. She took a psychology class, and she took the Myers-Briggs test as well, and we were kind of talking about it. And my point here is it's a long journey, and you shouldn't feel frustrated, and you shouldn't feel like you know everything either. To this day, I have a hard time saying 100% that I think someone's this type or whatever type. In person, I'm pretty good at like coming up with someone's type. But online, it is very difficult to type people. I may have some very high hunches, but you will never really know someone's type until you meet them in person, because I know some people like to type off of appearances. I know some people like to type off of micro expressions or just even the tone of someone's voice. any kind of thing that they can find in a video. But you have to realize that at the end of the day, people are so complex, yet so simple at the same time, but you will never get a full image of someone until you meet them in person. And this goes back into intelligence. Intelligence is such a wide spectrum, and everybody is unique in their own way, and again, we are so similar at the same time. We are full of like these paradoxes, and we all have different things that we are good at, and even between the types there's a spectrum. So just like anything else, humor, creativity, physical appearance, and again, likability, intelligence, all of those things are a spectrum. And so I think anybody that is new, and this is just, I know that this video wasn't like super planned out, it definitely wasn't. I'm actually in my kind of hometown where I grew up, in a parking lot of Publix, if you guys aren't familiar of that grocery store, because I've been spending upwards of going on 3 weeks here, kind of helping out a family member. But if you are new to typology, or if you are kind of starting out your journey, it is very important to kind of throw away any kind of stereotype you have about a personality that you see online. And also know that the tests are trash. I say it here, I'll say it, not all tests, but most tests are trash. And maybe not trash, maybe they are a good kind of starting basis, but you should not go by what a test says, and you shouldn't discriminate someone based on their personality type. Yes, there are certainly, you're going to find over time, especially if you get into socionics, what personality types are more fitting for your personality type. And I would have to say, I will be completely honest here, ESTJs are probably, well, they are my least favorite personality type. And this is not to say that I'd hate every single ESTJ, and actually, in a general sense, I can get along with them. But what's kind of cool about understanding typology is being able to work around personality types that you wouldn't necessarily get along with had you not known about personality type. It should be a tool to learn that not everybody thinks like you, but there's also people that think incredibly like yourself. And it can help you in social dynamics and in relationships in all kinds of ways if you use it in a healthy way. So I made this video really to talk about intelligence, but it kind of has morphed into something else. I'm not really sure what I'm going to title this video, but just when you're getting into typology, or if you've been in this journey for a while, just know that everybody has their own set of skills, even outside of typology, and you shouldn't box people in just because of their personality type. But that being said, because if you do really know someone's personality type, you will know the certain cognitive functions that they prefer, and you're able to not only understand people better, but also get along with people that you may not get along with more naturally. There are ESTJs that I have in my life, and I actually have quite a few, but one in particular that is very close to me, and that is my Nana's boyfriend, and he is an ESTJ. He actually typed as an ESTJ. My Nana is an ESFJ, and I think I can definitely see the barrier there when it comes to personality. But because I know that about him, I'm very, I try to structure myself in a way that I'm able to have conversations with him on a pretty personal and deep level. I actually love talking to him, and I think he has a lot of value. And that's to be said, which, by the way, there's a cat. I'm gonna show you guys. There's a Starbucks right here. Can you guys see that cat? I hope nothing happens to that cat. I don't know if you saw it. It's a little orange cat. But personality types are just one little sector of who someone is. And I find it incredibly interesting, and I know that so many people find it so interesting as well. But it should be kind of a learning tool, and it should also be something that can become fluid. So, meaning you may think that someone's or yourself is a type, but over time, as you go through the journey, you start realizing more and more people, and really you have to have interactions with people in person. You cannot just study the theory. I think that studying the theory is incredibly important, and I have studied the theory numerous times. I've gone down so many rabbit holes with personality theory over the years, and I could study it for I just love studying the structures of the personalities and the cognitive functions and how the system actually works. I love the behind the scenes system of everything. But the real work comes from understanding and processing those things, but also meeting people in person, even kind of thinking back to people that you have known in the past and in the future. Well, not in the future. But sorry that this video is kind of awkward. I mean, if you know me, I'm fairly awkward. Well, I'm very awkward, but yeah. I think that there's a lot of value, but I guess my biggest point is everyone can be intelligent and everybody can be stupid. I feel like that's such a of course moment, but just for those people that may think that only one personality is a certain way, there are people that in every single personality break the mold. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. If you like this video, please subscribe or like it and subscribe, and comment down below any of your experiences, or maybe even share your typology journey. All right, bye.